the lag is. I wanted to talk today about why words are a craft. Like when you hear someone speak of arts and crafts. So it a craft is when you make something. Now, grammary, grammary, Gramary is from the word grammar, and it has to do with black magic and actually crafting words to use in a wrong way. Now, an example of using words in a wrong way is called double speak. So, for example, I'm a veteran. I'm a veteran. So, when you hear someone say a politician, they may say all veterans deserve to get what is due to them. So that's good political speech because it sounds like that means that they're going to help the veterans out. But what that actually means is it means that they're only going to get what's already been written into law, what they have already been told that they can have. But by carefully reformulating the words by craft, and in this instance, a bad craft, they are actually giving people a false illusion. And that's why I'm talking about, they're creating like a hologram by their words, which is giving a false impression. So, like, it's giving people a false hope, a false impression. So, the idea of social class stratification is whenever you'll only pay a poor person like $7 to do a job, and you have to create an illusion that somehow, because of their own problems or something that's wrong with them, they only deserve $7 anyways for an hour of their life, right? But because of another person, they'll create an illusion that um, because of their particular degrees and some kind of knowledge base that they have, that they are more worthy than other people. So those are very arbitrary concepts, and it doesn't take a lot of cognition or like cognitive power to realize that one person's worth in this planet cannot be even equated to money. And there's a lot of oppression and just wrong ideas that come along with trying to put a worth to somebody's life, to somebody's time. So it's just so part of this hologram that's been constructed that helps stratify people into a level, some kind of level in this pyramid scheme world we live in, is is the like in advertising, they'll put a signs up, and they will put somebody with a title up there, and so the program. So let's say you just drive by a Walmart, for example. Well, Walmart's sign that they put out front, doesn't really, you can't really see it unless someone kind of draws the picture for you, that that's connected to the entire program, right? So maybe Walmart has really cheap prices. Well, by knowing that, like you drive down the road and you see a sign and it says Walmart. Well, the whole business model is connected deeply to that sign. Like, so to bring consumers into that, into the parking lot, and get them out of the cars and into the stores, to be a consumer, and to go in there just buying things. And then you have the managers, and you have the stockholders, and all of these different levels. Okay, it's what we're describing here is like, you have to create in people's minds to make people think that all of these things are okay, or that they even make sense, and that we should be a part. You'll see during like Easter and Valentine's Day and St. Pat's, other holidays, New Year's, and so they'll attach little like leprechauns and fairies to them, and even when you turn on the news, all of the advertising that goes along with that, these are very strange things, and we kind of just will hop on board with these. If they don't actually understand how some of these things work, the hologram is never actually torn down. So what we're also speaking about is how you get through this hologram, and it's a bit like, it's comparable to a maze. Is that what I have done with my research? Is I've tried to take words and authors that I've studied and researched, to really try and help people see outside of this maze, and to get out of the maze, and to, in this machine of a maze that we live on, kind of throw some crowbars into the gears, um, rather than just trying to find our way out of the maze. Give y'all some shortcuts to kind of burst down these walls, and just see through a lot of this. And forgive me today, my mind's a bit foggy because I've actually have a cold, and I'm congested and everything, so it's a bit harder for me right now um, to think as clearly as I'm usually able to think. So level, or like, let's say you're middle class, to make it up to the next level, they call that stratification, when it makes it impossible to get from one. The way that I am, in the idea of a maze or a hologram, or these the compartments within this pyramidal scheme, is because I'm trying to explain some of the different, and also to control productivity, or to try to keep. And so what all of these things work together to do in our mind, or we look at it from the ideas of school, church, business, or government, we see all of this different subliminals of advertising, and the way that they use language, and the way that they use double speak, and all of these different crafts to just kind of learn words and sentences, and how to use critical consciousness and critical thinking, to just kind of get out of the normal status quo operations of how we would usually kind of navigate this maze, or try to navigate this pyramid, or or navigate these different institutions and traditions and even the financial systems to be able to actually raise people's minds to a level where they can actually see through it and see out of it, to be able to make stripping down of the false realities in this kind of hologram that we've been living in and been a part of since we were little. So we just accepted it as though it was all normal. The flashing signs and the neon signs and the bureaucracies and filling out applications, and just so that we would never be productive in a real life sense. Like maybe whether we created a forge and we started digging up metals and mining and forging, or if we produced fruit and we grew fruit and we grew wheat. You know, someone blew my mind one day when they explained to me that the government doesn't actually produce anything. And that really blew me. I mean, that's astounding when you look at what um, real life materials, or real life, um, you know, merchandise, or however you look at it, about just producing your own things, your own food, or producing your own drinkable water, or producing, metal, or whatever it is. I mean, it's incredible that we have this society where only a few people actually produce anything. So take over something. They call that manifest destiny in school, where they say we colonized the Americans, which means that we went to war, we took over their land, we decimated people. You have to live here, and you have to do this, and so we colonize, monopolize, and we become a form of slave. And a slave for the is just a tradition, because an ism on the end of the word means you can make it whatever you want, any philosophy that you want. So we've been handed these traditions that say, oh, well, this is capitalism. Oh, this is socialism. Oh, this is capitalism. And it's always about the little ism on the end, means that the philosophy of. Whenever you have an ism on the end of the word, it means the philosophy of. And an ist is one who leans into a philosophy. So you might have rationalism. So a rationalist is one who ascribes to that philosophy. And then you might have a capitalism, which a capitalist is one who actually subscribes to capitalism. Now, a lot of people are confused who live in America, a capitalist. But see, capitalism actually means that you have capital. You actually have assets. You have a some kind of real assets. So most people who live in America actually live here. You have to actually have capital to be a capitalist. So it's kind of like when the Occupy Wall Street movement was going on. People were saying, we are the 99%. Well, point one who actually own some capital. They are the capitalists, and they call that cartel capitalist. People from being taken over and overran, who are doing honest business. So I can have a little bit Brussels sprouts, or just whatever I'm selling, right? And so people could protect me and keep people from being able to just monopolize my business and destroy my business, or just wipe me out from being able to have a business as well. But we see that the way that they have taken the form of government in America has been towards eliminating competition and having this colonizing, monopolizing companies, and that's how they really control and ensure that the many are governed by the few, and so that's just real world understanding. But so whenever we are talking about breaking out of that hologram and out of that illusion, what we're speaking of is we're speaking of the Bible, and we're speaking of acknowledging that creation is much more than that, and it's not a competition. Life isn't about competition. Life isn't about being better and comparing ourselves with one another. Life, there's a beauty to existing and being able to communicate across these little holographic boundaries that have been created for us to walk in, and that all of the stratification is really just a worldly game, and worldly means the institutions of mankind. So as we grow, God willing, we'll be able to get through this and see through this. And I'm going to go ahead and stop the video now, because I'm curious as to if I'm coming through broken or not, and I don't have anyone here talking or making comments right now, so I'm kind of curious. So, all right, I'll catch y'all in a little while. All right, bye.